This is Red Podcast, episode number 253. Working on a book. I'm taking you through the process. I just heard back from one of the guys that I wanted to do my foreword. That story is coming up.
This is the Red Podcast. Here's your host, David Hooper.
Red Podcast, David Hooper here. Got a foreword update for you. Had sort of a big move on that. Kind of reevaluated my timeline because of some of the delays getting the edits back, an issue with the copy editor. He's not able to do a project this big right now, so I've had to find another copy editor. More on that in the previous episode, 252. I thought I would have my final edit from the content editors back. Still waiting on that, but should have that literally in the next few hours, and I will update you as soon as I get it, because once I receive it, that's going to let me know how much work needs to be done and when I'm going to actually be able to get this thing out. So as I mentioned in the last episode, I've been interviewing proofing people, narrowed that down to 2. I'm pretty close to a final title on this book. I'll update you on that soon because I think that's worthy of its own episode. Closer on the cover, let's talk forewords. This is the first time that I've ever wanted a foreword for a book that I've done. And I'm not sure how many books I've done. I don't know, 5 or 6. Some of them got my name on them. Some of them I've had a little more help with than others. So depending on how you count it, I've got 5 or 6 books. I briefly considered it for my last book. I didn't pursue it like I'm pursuing it on this book. And part of that is because I'm trying to make a name for myself in doing something outside of music and entertainment marketing. So I need that help if I can get it. Let's just say this. Maybe I don't need the help, but I'm not going to turn it down. So I had a short list of maybe 5 or 6 people. I narrowed it down to 2. I heard back from one, sort of. Person is a podcaster. He's arguably a well-known podcaster. He's got a popular podcast on an established network. The pitch that I sent was this. Like the podcast, like what you're doing. I like the message that you're spreading. I'm doing a book. It is about the power of podcasting, to spread your message, to take control of your message, to not have other people make your message for you. Thought that this guy would be perfect. He's a guy who's been misunderstood. He's taking control of his message via a podcast. So that was the pitch. I like a few words on what podcasting has meant to you, how it's helped you to redefine yourself and be redefined in the eyes of the public. And I'm not going to mention who this is, by the way. It could be a number of people, because really all of us, when you think about it, we as podcasters, we are controlling our own message. This is not us working through a big network, a big studio, filters, editors. We take control of our own message, especially independent podcasters. So that was the pitch. We're taking control of our message. I appreciate that you are controlling your own message. How about writing a foreword? Not about me, which is what forewords usually are. They're about the author and how the author is great, how you should trust the author. I want you to do it about the power of podcasting. So I reached out via the podcast website. That was about 12 weeks ago. Finally heard back from them. That was maybe, 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was a form letter. And it was like, hey, we're getting a ton of emails. Thanks for your response. Here's how to get more information on the podcast. Not very helpful. So I decided to reach out another way. But here's the issue. I've got no idea how to reach this guy. He's not on LinkedIn. Can't find anything like that. I'm not sure what his direct email is or even if he's got one. So I reached out to the producer. That was a couple of weeks ago. Heard nothing. Not one to sit around and wait. I reached out to somebody from the network. Heard back the next day. And this is the response that I got. Hi, David. Is quite busy with his own business and is not interested or available for this. Take care. Ouch. That was cold. I've done music industry, entertainment work for over 20 years. I don't think I've ever been shut down that quickly, that precisely. I'm going to read it again. Is quite busy with his own business and is not interested or available for this. Take care. So a few thoughts on this. On one hand, it's pretty clear, and I appreciate that because the first outreach that I had, the one through the website with the form letter that I got back, that was not clear. Gave me a little bit of hope. On the other hand, this message, Blake is quite busy with his own business and is not interested or available for this. Take care. That's pretty cold. That's a fine line to walk. Being clear, but not completely crushing somebody's spirits. And not that my spirits are crushed. And I hope I don't sound like I'm bitter or angry or anything like that. I'm not. And I'll talk a little bit more about how I'm feeling here in a second. But it is something that I think all of us need to be aware of because we're being flooded with these kind of emails too. Hey, can I be a guest on your podcast? Hey, can I send you some music to play on the air? That's what they say from our broadcast radio show. So I get that somewhat, that you want to be clear You want somebody coming back to you. I don't know. Maybe this lady saw the other email that I'd sent. She was frustrated that I kept coming back and coming back and coming back. That's standard in the business that I'm in. You're not going to take no for an answer, are you? You're not going to let that stop you. She's probably being flooded with opportunity emails like the one I sent. So I get it. I appreciate that somebody's focused and clear. But I wasn't trying to get to her. That's a little frustrating to me. I was trying to get to him, and I could ask him myself. That's a bit frustrating. Again, I get it. Because maybe she's a filter, maybe they got some kind of arrangement, maybe she's trying to protect him. But I don't like when somebody takes away somebody else's power. He can say no. It's a grown man, very powerful guy. He could say no. But again, I get it. Because I've got people coming to me all the time. I've got people that work for me. I've got producers. I've got other filters in place that it takes a little bit of work for somebody to get to me. With that said, if you're creative and if you can get to me, yeah, more power to you. I'm going to respect that. And I'll tell you no myself. Or maybe I'll say yes. I don't know. But I like the opportunity to say yes or no myself. You know, I mentioned working in the music industry. I see this a lot with celebrities. And one of the things that I have seen, because I get near celebrities a lot from a lot of the interviews that I do or a lot of the marketing work that I do with them, is that sometimes the handlers are giving me a completely different story than the actual celebrities themselves. Let me give you a story about Robert Plant. You know Robert Plant, singer for Led Zeppelin, has had a solo career, and he's recently been doing a lot more work in Nashville. So he was at the radio station that I was recording my show at in the next studio doing an interview. And it was really interesting because he was super excited to be there. We're in Nashville. He's hanging out here. He's done a lot of recordings with Alison Krauss, doing all sorts of stuff in Nashville. He was super excited to be on a hometown station because this is kind of a home away from home for him. So he's glad to be here. He keeps going on and on and on. The handler, and I'm not sure who the handler was, maybe a road manager, I don't know. He's trying to get him to cut it short. And Robert Plant said, oh, come on, it's Nashville. We can give him a little more time. I mean, that was the conversation, and those were the words that he used. I've seen that so many times. I've seen it in my own work. And I get it. There's got to be somebody who's in charge, the parent, who's like, hey, we got to hop on the bus and get to the next town. But I also understand that these people, the person that you're trying to get to, they're thinking about something different. They're thinking about the art, the message they're trying to spread. They're thinking about relationships themselves. Again, maybe that's the arrangement, but I bring it up here because I think it affects us as podcasters when people are trying to get connected with us, but it also affects us as people with messages when we're trying to get connected with other people, because we are going to go to people and sometimes they're not going to want to hear from us and they're going to turn us down. So how do you handle that? Look, I don't know. You just move on. That's the bottom line for me. I look at it as an opportunity to step things up and create offers that people don't say no to. I am not known in this business yet. I had a very similar experience with a live event that I was producing earlier this year. Had a guy that I wanted to attend. He's like, yeah, I'm not really interested. I said, okay. So I moved on. Then this event started to pick up momentum. He saw all his buddies coming into it. He's like, oh man, I'm sorry. I made a horrible mistake. I should have said yes to this. Is there any way I could still get involved? I said, yeah, I'm not going to hold a grudge, man. I want you here. That's why I contacted you in the first place. So I've got an opportunity to step things up, create offers that people don't say no to. And when I get more well-known, that means better opportunities. That means more people are wanting to work with me. And I think we all have that. The more well-known we get, we've got that opportunity through podcasting. And certainly if you're like me, you're doing a book, there's an opportunity there as well. Sometimes in the entertainment industry, we'd say heat. When you've got a little heat on you, more people are wanting to work with you. So to kind of wrap this up in a nice bow, I get a very clear message from this lady that I need to move forward, go into a different direction, go on to the next thing. I'm not in the convincing business. I could write her back and say, oh, please, you don't understand. Let me convince you how great I am. Nope, not going to do that. There are too many opportunities out there for us to work with people who want to work with us. So when you get rejected, you've got a person who doesn't want to work with you, move on, get better, create the opportunities yourself, let those people come to you. If you want more thoughts on podcasting, you need to check out my website, bigpodcast.com. If you are a podcaster, and you should be, I've got 25 episode templates for you. Plug and play. These are templates that are tested. They are going to be popular with your audience. They're going to help you outline 25 different types of episodes that people will love. They'll download. They'll tell their friends about. You can get these templates free. available to you at bigpodcast.com is my thanks for listening to Red Podcast and the other things that I've got going on. I appreciate you. As I mentioned, I'm building myself up. Not a lot of people know me outside of the music and entertainment industry, so I am building myself up, and I appreciate you getting in on the ground floor, coming in early with me. So check me out, bigpodcast.com, get this 25-episode templates, and I will see you on the next episode of Red Podcasts, where I talk more about getting this book out. It is coming. Very exciting. Starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Finally. It's been 4 long years. Hopefully, this is something that will help you with your book, with things that you're launching, and I will see you on the next episode of Red Podcast.
You've been listening to Red Podcast. Never miss an episode. Subscribe now with your iPhone, Android, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.